Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Insufficient Friends. I'm Kevin. She's Nikki.
Hi.
And Nick, I was going to try to do a Irish accent to start this off, but I chickened out at the last second. So we're just not going to do that today.
An Irish accent's hard.
An Irish accent is hard. I've been practicing for the last 3 or 4 days. I still chickened out at the last second. So that's just not going to happen. This week we're talking about St. Patrick's Day because St. Patrick's Day is Monday, which is the day after this comes out. But we'll get to that in a few minutes. If you're new here, welcome. This is a podcast that is just kind of whatever we want to talk about. So if you want to think about it as like what you would talk about with your friends at any gathering, coffee, drinks, whatever, sitting around a campfire, the stupid crap that you would talk with your friends about, and how wrong you all are at everything you say.
Yep.
That's about how we are. So, take everything we say with a grain of salt, and just sit around and have fun. And that's about what it is. So anyway, Nick, how was your week? There was a lot of crap that happened this week. A lot of things that happened that we, I mean, obviously we don't really talk politics. We don't talk politics. We don't talk religion or anything like that on here. But there was a lot of things that happened that we are interested in this week that we were not expecting, obviously, to happen, that we're going to talk about. So the first one.
Yeah, this is like the news that we care about and talk about on here. Because like we do talk politics, but not on this podcast. But there were so many things that happened in the news this week that like are in our niches of interesting things and hobbies that we care about.
Yeah. Two of them actually overlapped, which is the first one, which is kind of funny, which is true crime and paranormal. Those two overlapped this week, which is kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, so the first one that we were going to talk about was the Ghost Adventures. So Aaron Goodwin, who is my favorite investigator on Ghost Adventures, his wife, soon to be ex-wife because he filed for divorce today, his wife was arrested on March 6th for hiring a hitman
Allegedly.
to kill him.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Yes.
We don't want to be sued, allegedly.
Yeah, that's true.
Allegedly.
At this point, if we haven't been sued for something wrong that we've said, we're probably doing okay. But yes, allegedly. So she allegedly texted this hitman who people might know. So Grant Amato, he was on a documentary recently. He was implicated in a familicide. And I think Florida, I can't remember exactly which state, but he was found guilty. I don't know that he's been charged yet, but he's definitely been in a facility. And so apparently she arranged it with him. He arranged the hitman, allegedly. And he texted the hitman. So this all happened like in October when Aaron, Zach, and Jay and Billy were filming Ghost Adventures. And so he texted the hitman, he's asleep in his hotel room right now. Was it done? And so there was like a lot of really incriminating evidence the police have found so far. And like we've heard hardly anything about this. Like we've just scratched the surface. But her initial statement, Victoria Goodwin's initial statement, was that she was just daydreaming about this. She wasn't actually going to do it. And the down payment that she sent to the alleged hitman or Amato was just to pay for a cell phone in prison, was just to smuggle a cell phone in. So that was her defense.
According to this report that I'm looking at, though, is that she discussed setting aside $11,000. That's a lot more than what a cell phone costs.
Yeah, so, like that's too much to even smuggle multiple cell phones into prison.
Also, there's incriminating text messages where she reportedly says things like, "I'm so anxious. I can't believe it's happening." Am
I a bad person for not just wanting to divorce him?
Yeah.
Crazy.
am I a bad person because I chose to end his existence, not divorce? Like, that's,
Yeah. It is. It's
yeah.
crazy. So I watched a YouTube video, and again, take this with a grain of salt because
It's YouTube,
we get our
which is what
research
we're
sometimes from
partly on
YouTube.
too. So, you know,
But there
it's,
was a YouTube channel, I forget exactly what it's called, but they had a homicide detective on to give his initial thoughts on the case. And
mm-hmm.
he said that murder for hire is not a common occurrence anymore.
No.
But in like the celebrity world and when finances are involved, it increases tenfold because of the money aspect. And then he said, it's going to be hard to discredit, like they're going to, so he said the investigators and officers will go through and determine the validity of the text messages, line it up with the timeline of when they were investigating. So like, for example, he's in the hotel room right now. Was it done? They're going to line up like the time of that text with the time of their filming and line up if he was in the hotel at that time. So they have a lot to do as far as like
Mm-hmm.
figuring out if these are actual valid,
Yeah.
text messages and everything. But he said it's going to be pretty hard to discredit that she set aside specific amounts of money and it was a very specific timing and how to not, prove intent with that. It's going to be, I don't know. The defense is going to be like they're going to use their social media because it looks picture perfect, like they had a good marriage. And so it was just very interesting to hear like an actual detective's take on it. But
Which, by the
again, it was
way,
YouTube.
if you're Aaron and you think you're in, and maybe they weren't, I don't know, but if you're Aaron and you believe, say that you're in a loving marriage and whatever, and then you find out that your wife was trying to have you killed, can you imagine what that would do to your self
Oh my
conscience,
God.
like your conscience,
No.
your self confidence, anything? Like,
Yeah.
holy crap!
And I already feel bad. And again, he's a celebrity. Like, I don't know him personally, but the I've been watching him and watching interviews and watching him speak, like not just on TV, but watching him like interact with other people since I was like 12. I mean, I started watching Ghost Adventures when I was so young.
Hmm.
And so, because that's what actually got me into the paranormal. But so watching him be like a teddy bear and other people say like he is the most genuine, nice person, like he's just a weird, goofy, nice guy, is what you hear from everyone around him. So again, he's a celebrity. We don't truly ever know behind closed doors what
Yeah,
happens, but if that truly is, his personality, God, I just feel so bad for him. He's gone through a lot, like in
yeah.
his personal life too. So, ugh, yeah,
It's
I can't
just,
imagine that feeling. It'd be heart-wrenching.
yeah. That's just sad. Like, it's
But
just,
good on him for already filing for divorce
yes,
immediately.
yeah,
I would too.
yeah.
That'd be insane.
That's
But yeah, so case is
that's a
ongoing.
lot.
This literally just happened, and I was like
Well,
shook when I
yeah.
saw that.
She just got arrested. Details just came out about it, but it seems like the incident actually happened several months ago in like
Oh, the
October.
incident
So,
happened in October,
yeah,
but she just got arrested on March 6th, and it
yeah,
seems like, from public perspective, that was the first time he knew about it too.
yeah. Which is, whew.
Crazy.
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. Um,
hmm
and in other paranormal news, you sent me. Is there a reason you sent me the video of who was it
With
that,
Bob Gurr,
yeah, with Bob Gurr? Who was it that was? She used to be on Ghost Adventures, right?
Ghost Hunter. So
Ghost
Amy
Hunters.
Bruni,
Okay.
yeah, she was on Ghost Hunter. She had her own like podcast and stuff before. And since Ghost Hunters, she's been on Kindred Spirits,
Mm-hmm.
which is like my favorite show because they're very respectful. They're very like logical and they have good methods. And
Yeah.
anyway, so I like her style of
She
investigating.
talked about it a
She's the one
little
I
bit.
talked
Yeah.
about. She's my
Okay.
favorite. Yeah. Um, but yeah, she was on Bob Gurr's show, who I
Yes.
had like I've heard that name before from you, I think, but or from somewhere, but he's a Disney Imagineer. So I
Yes.
thought, oh
He
my gosh,
was.
that's like
He was
my
one of
world
the.
and Kevin's world.
He was one of the first Disney Imagineers.
Yeah.
He
Which he was
worked.
so cute in that interview. He's a good interviewer.
Yeah. He's 90 something years old too.
Mhm. Yeah.
But
He's
yeah.
like so empathetic and asks really good
Mm-hmm.
questions.
Yeah, because I mean, he's been around for obviously a long time, and he's
Mhm.
had to over the years had to think outside of the box. Because so, and the reason I say that is if I mean, this is, I'm not gonna get too much into Disney lore, but I'll tell you a little bit of the reason why is because Bob Gurr is one of the original what Disney calls an Imagineer, which was the like original group of people that built Disneyland when Walt was first building it. So they're they're like all the engineers, all like if you're a librarian, you're like an Imagineer at Disney. So
Mhm.
it's everybody that constitutes like the Walt Disney Company. But back then, Bob Gurr's not an engineer. He was a
Mhm.
designer. He he was just like he knew how to design. He went to school to like design industrial design, like design cars and things.
Mhm.
But when he started working for Disney, he helped build the monorails. So he did
Mhm.
the mechanical works to make them run. He built the
Wow.
tracks. He had to learn trigonometry to build the tracks for the Matterhorn bobsleds in Disneyland. He
Hmm.
built almost one of the jokes for him is if it has wheels in Disneyland, he probably built it.
Hmm.
So back then you didn't have the same restrictions that they do now with engineering. So basically, you just had to make it work, and that's what he did, and
Mhm.
what a lot of them did back then. So it's just,
Yeah.
and that's what he did. He worked on a ton of different projects. He worked on the Haunted Mansion, he worked on Autopia, he worked on some of the first animatronics, like Abraham Lincoln for the Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, which was in the 1964-65 World's Fair in New York,
Hmm.
and just all kinds of stuff like that. So he is like a Disney Imagineering, a Disney legend,
Yeah.
and
Interesting.
so he's been around a long time, and he's done a lot, and he worked directly with Walt Disney to build Disneyland. So he's done a lot over the years, and he's done a lot where he had to kind of shift how he thought about things and what you have to do. So he's been in situations where he has had to kind of take leaps of faith and try different things. So he
Mhm.
to a certain extent, I would guess he understands that. So he's gonna know how to ask people questions, and
Yeah.
he can see when she like he asked when he I watched that interview, and he asked her like, oh,
Mhm.
how did you think about taking this leap of faith from jumping from, I think she said she went from like what was
A
it,
project manager,
project
like
manager
at a hospital.
to
Mhm.
working in to going to work on
Paranormal.
TV and
Yeah.
paranormal. So, that's a leap of faith to take, to not
Mhm.
know if it's gonna work or not. So,
Mhm.
and that's,
Yeah, it was a very, very interesting interview. I'll post it. I'll post a link on our Instagram
yeah, I'll put it
because
at the bottom
it
of
was so
our
good. Hmm.
YouTube thingy and in our
Yeah.
stuff too. It'll
It
be in
was
the
good,
description.
and her answers are great. Like I love how she thinks about things too, because
Hmm.
it's kind of the same views that I've always had. Um, yeah, it's just a really good interview, but I thought you would enjoy that. And he's
Yeah,
fascinating.
he's had other paranormal television people on there too. I noticed in his on his
I haven't
show.
watched any others.
Yeah, I saw he had a couple other ones on there. So I'm sure you'll end up watching them, and I'm sure I'll end up watching them too, because
Yeah,
for different reasons.
probably.
Because I like Bob Gurr and you like paranormal stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll both end
Hmm.
up watching them. But yeah. Anyway, what was the other thing? Oh, Girl Scout cookies. That was
Girl
another
Scout
thing that
cookies.
I saw this week. Girl Scouts were sued because their cookies are said to be toxic, which is fun.
Yeah.
But that lawsuit was, or the main person on that lawsuit quickly, like after the day after it was filed, quickly left the lawsuit, which is
Yeah.
just, um, yeah. I don't really know. This got a lot of
Yeah, I first saw it on a Joe Rogan clip and I
Yeah,
immediately sent it to you.
it
And I didn't even really watch the whole video. I just saw Girl Scout cookies and I was like, Kev,
yeah.
send.
So it got a lot of traction on Joe Rogan clip. A there was two nonprofit groups that did a test. They tested, I think it was 11 different types of Girl Scout cookies. I have it here. Hold on. I'm looking at the report here somewhere. Hold on. It,
Yeah, I remember you texting me right after and being like,
yeah. So there was they sent these they sent it they got cookies. They only tested 25 cookies in total, which is not very
which
many.
is not enough
It's not
study.
enough cookies, and that's why the study has gotten a little bit of backlash, which is why partly people think that the one lady who was heading the study, who filed the study, may have dropped out. But
Hmm.
they only tested 25 cookies, but um and every single cookie that they tested, there was high levels of toxic chemicals, high levels
Mhm.
of toxic heavy metals, and
Yeah,
other
heavy
and other
metals is
things
what
like
I
that.
saw.
But they only tested 25 cookies, which is a very small sample size, and they only and it hasn't been peer reviewed, and it hasn't been replicated. So there hasn't been
Hmm.
any other studies that have done with this. Um, the Girl Scouts have come out and said that their cookies are obviously safe to eat, and said that they
Hmm.
follow all FDA, regulations and guidelines for this.
Yeah,
Um,
because it's not like someone's whipping this up in their house. This is like a
no,
corporation.
they're made
Yeah.
by there's several different bakeries across the country that make Girl Scout cookies.
Hmm.
They are made, obviously by mass quantities, because they make
Yeah.
tons of these things and ship them out all over the country. Um, so the you know it, is there is there things in food? Yeah, the thing is there's
Yeah.
a lot of
I was gonna
what.
say I have mixed feelings overall
Yeah,
about like when
here's
things come out in food.
everything that I've seen on this is here's the problem. There's a lot of stuff in our food anyway, because there's a lot of this stuff that is just naturally occurring in food, and there's a lot of stuff that gets added in the processing that our food goes through anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
is what it is? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Up to a certain extent. Like I have always been like I try to eat somewhat healthy just for my own health and health issues. And then I try to get organic when it makes sense. Like I have milk every single day in my lattes. So I get organic milk because
yeah,
I'm eating it every single day or drinking it every single day. But if it's something that I get on like a whim, like Girl Scout cookies, I get like once a year maybe.
yeah,
I I just I don't think it's that big of a
yeah.
deal.
It's not. It's not.
My, cup that I drink out of probably has more metal. I don't know. It's just like we're surrounded by things. So I do my best, but I really do not care to keep up with every
And
single little thing.
and the other thing is too is, I mean, we haven't really ever talked about this, but misinformation spreads so fast.
So
Like,
quick.
it is
Hmm.
amazing how fast misinformation
Oh, I
spreads.
definitely partook in that this week because I sent that video to you without even reading it,
Yeah.
and partially because I didn't care.
It's
Yeah.
amazing how fast misinformation spreads, because one person sends it to another, who sends it to two
Hmm.
others, who sends it to three others, who and
And then
it
that person goes on
multiplies.
Joe Rogan.
Yes. It
Yeah.
multiplies, and and unfortunately, when it spreads like that, unfortunately the truth doesn't spread quite as fast, or once the
Hmm.
information's out there, it's hard to quell back and
Yes, it's
repeal
already
that
like a
information.
bad
Yeah.
image.
Once
Yeah,
you get that
for sure.
information out there, it's hard to get it back. And that goes the same for if it's good or bad. It doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
Once the first information is out there, it's really hard to get that
Yeah, that's what
back.
imprints. It's that
Yeah.
first and last bias.
Yeah.
Like it definitely imprints super hard.
Yeah, it's really difficult, and that has to go for everything. So
Yeah.
it's just, it's just something to be wary of
Yeah.
whenever
It's
you.
basically like whatever. In regards to the Girl Scout cookies, like I try to eat organic, gluten free, blah blah blah, whatever day to day. Let
But
me
I'm
have
gonna
my
eat my
freaking
Girl
Girl
Scout
Scout
cookies,
cookies. Yeah, yeah. So,
mainly Thin Mints. You know.
um, yes, I do enjoy Thin Mints. I like the peanut butter ones too. Yeah, those are good.
Yeah,
Now I'm thinking about them a lot, and I want some.
I get
Give me
that.
my heavy metal cookies now.
We went right into that because there was a lot of stuff that went on this week, and I completely
Mhm.
forgot to do shout outs. So,
Oh,
Nick, do you have any shout outs for this week?
no, I do not.
Okay, well, okay, then I'll do the one that I have. I have one, and it is for my dad's stepmom. Their anniversary is actually St. Patrick's Day, so it'll flow well
Oh,
into our main topic, which is St. Patrick's Day.
yeah.
So,
Happy anniversary.
yes, happy anniversary, Dad and Angela. I don't know how long they've been married. I can't remember. Um, I wasn't invited to the wedding, Dad. Um, I don't. I didn't actually wasn't informed about the wedding even happening until a couple months before it happened, Dad. Um, I got a call like after they got it. I don't remember, but yeah. Anyway, they eloped in Vegas and da 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 da, and
Oh,
nobody was invited. I definitely wasn't invited. I barely knew that it
well,
was going to happen. So whatever.
my parents can probably relate to that feeling. We wanted our wedding to be our wedding, but we had a massive reception after. So everyone could celebrate. We
Yeah,
did speeches, we did cake cutting. We did
yeah,
basically a wedding in our reception,
yeah.
but I I stand by the fact every once in a while my parents get a little butt hurt, but they'll live. But I wanted that moment for just a marriage is about two people,
Yeah,
those two people. And
yeah,
I wanted that moment. Now we had to have witnesses. So like there were a couple other people there, but like it was just us two.
yeah.
And I will I would never trade that moment for anything. It was amazing.
I
So
get
no,
that.
but also we had a reception and everyone else got to have their moment. And I was like typical, all the things that you hear of on a wedding
Yeah,
day, like my feet were bleeding. I was dehydrated. I didn't get to eat. And so like I'm so glad that wasn't my actual wedding day.
yeah,
I'm so glad.
yeah.
So
I just
anyways, I
like to.
empathize with them just eloping.
I just like to give my dad
Yeah,
crap about it because
naturally.
it was, it seemed like at the time it seemed like it was a long time after it all like it was a long time after they got engaged that he actually said anything, and then it was a short
Hmm.
time before they got like it seemed like it was a bigger thing whenever it was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna get. It's like, well, thanks for flipping telling me. Like, come on, man. Like, what the hell? It's just that's more what it seemed like at the time. I don't remember. It's been years ago, so
Hmm.
it's not a big deal. I just more like to give him crap for it. So, it is what it is. But I understand. I'm glad you
Yeah.
guys had. I mean, you guys had. I saw pictures from it. You guys had a beautiful wedding in Scotland. So
I, I like could cry just thinking about it. Casey wouldn't. I would. But the reception was great too because
yeah,
I joke and say like it was everyone else's moment, not ours. And I was like tired and I was dehydrated and tired and my feet were bleeding. But it was also like I loved being around my family and
yeah,
hearing speeches and getting to thank my family for everything they've done for me. And like I got to thank my Aunt Cindy and got to thank my dad and my mom and Casey got to thank him. I think he thanked his family. I don't know.
yeah.
But
I'm pretty sure.
anyways, it
Yeah,
was
he
a good
did.
moment.
He did.
I think he did.
Yeah, he did.
I think so.
Yeah, I was there. I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think everyone else had a good time. From what
yeah,
I've heard from you all, it was like actually a good reception,
yeah.
not one that was like, yeah, it was a good reception. We had
No, it was fun.
fun.
Yeah, we had fun.
Yeah. So
We had a
that
lot
was
of
my
fun.
hope.
Yeah.
But
Anyway, so now to the actual St. Patrick's Day, which,
yes.
again,
Yeah.
St.
Sorry.
Patrick's Day.
Tangents.
Yeah,
Hmm.
tangents. We do that a lot around here. So,
Yeah.
obviously, we did the first 30 minutes on random crap that happened this week.
It was good though, because I was like dying to talk about those things, because there's hardly ever anything that happens that I'm like, oh, I want to talk about that on the podcast so bad.
Yeah. This was
But anyways, so St. Patrick's Day.
This was an interesting week.
Yeah, it was. So I did research on the history of it, naturally, because I'm me. And then you did research on the modern day. So I'll start. So, because I never really knew much about the actual history. I've heard all the legends, which I'll get into here, but I wanted to know, like, for sure what was the actual history of it. So, St. Patrick's Day, celebrated annually on March 17th, commemorates the death of St. Patrick, a prominent figure in the early Christianization of Ireland. And it used to be like a very, very religious holiday. Now it's, more secular and just a celebration of Irish culture. But St. Patrick, contrary to popular belief, was actually born in Great Britain, not Ireland. He was born in Great Britain to wealthy parents in the end of the 4th century, and is believed to have died on March 17th, around 460 AD. So that's why it's celebrated this time of year. So his father was a Christian deacon, and St. Patrick's family, I forget his actual name. His name is not actually St. Patrick. That's his Christian name. But his family was not like super, super, super religious. His father was deacon, but a lot of people suggest that was just for like tax incentives. So who knows? But I don't know. Tax incentives in 460 AD, is that the same as now? I don't know.
But probably. Yeah. I mean, you had taxes.
I have no idea how it worked. Because that was when Great Britain was like part of the Roman Empire, I believe. So who knows? But at the age of 16, he was taken prisoner by a group of Irish raiders who raided his family's estate. And so they transported him to Ireland, and he spent 6 years in captivity. And so there's dispute, because this is so long ago, there's dispute over where exactly this captivity took place. They say the most likely, and by they, I got most of this from history.com and Britannica. So
I'd say that's pretty relevant sources.
I tried to find pretty relevant sources. So they said it's more likely that he was held in County Mayo near Killala. I have no idea where that is, but so during his time in captivity, he worked as a shepherd, outdoors, away from people. He said in his writings that he was very lonely and afraid, and he turned to his religion for solace. So he was always Christian, but he became like a devout Christian during this time. And this is kind of the time when he first dreamed of converting the Irish people to Christianity, because Ireland during this time was very pagan. They worshiped nature, and really that was it. So you know how traditionally now on St. Patrick's Day and Easter, a lot of the springtime holidays, they will have like feasts. We'll do egg hunts, rabbits, like all of that was a lot of the like pagan roots of it. So but during the captivity is when he kind of dreamed of converting the Irish people to Christianity. More like how he grew up. But anyway, so that's kind of the history of who he was. I never knew a lot of that. But there are also a lot of legends around him. So, like driving all the snakes out of Ireland, there's no snakes in Ireland because of the island, and there'd be no way for them to like travel from mainland Europe to like Ireland. So there's not really any snakes in Ireland. But so that was probably like the pagans. It's also said that he used the shamrock to explain the Trinity. But like shamrocks aren't a real thing. There's some like plants in nature that kind of mimic that, but I guess they're like not real. I don't know. And leprechauns. If you didn't know, at least I don't think leprechauns are real. So that was also another legend that grew around St. Patrick's Day that somehow was related to him. I have no idea why. That one I don't know how it's related. But...
Okay. The only thing I remember from when I was in college
Hmm.
is because Mizzou has an engineering school, and I
Hmm.
remember doing um, uh, we did like the student run television station or whatever. We did like
Hmm.
a story on engineering week, which is always around this time of year.
Yeah.
Because and their big thing is St. Patrick was an engineer. That's what they always march around. They light up the dome green on St. Patrick's Day. Um,
Hmm.
the Blarney Stone is a big ordeal thing. Like I don't really understand why it's such a big like why St. Patrick is such a big thing with engineers. I don't know. I didn't look that deep into it because I I didn't really think about it to tell you the truth, but I yeah,
This
it was
says, while not a professional engineer in the modern sense, St. Patrick is considered the patron saint of engineers, though his engineering contributions are more of a legend than historical fact.
hmm. What
I
is
guess. Oh, he introduced arches and lime mortar to Irish construction.
okay. What does the Blarney Stone have to do with him?
I have no idea.
Okay, because
I thought that was something totally different.
the Blarney Stone is a big thing also that I saw several places, and like there's several people that claim to have the real Blarney Stone, and like you kiss the Blarney
Yeah,
Stone and
I know
like
it's because I've seen videos of people like um kissing the stone at Blarney Castle.
yeah.
No, I have no idea how that would be related because this was in 1446
I thought
and
it
he
had
was like
something
460 AD,
I thought it had something
right?
to do with him, but maybe it doesn't. I would have swore they were tied together when I heard all about this, but maybe they
A
just
number
kind
of
of
stories attempt to explain the origin of the stone and the surrounding legend. An early story involves the goddess Cladonia. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong because it's in Gaelic. Um, yeah, the builder of Blarney Castle appealed to Cladonia. I don't even know if that's the right name. It's Cliodhna, the goddess. So he appealed to Cladonia for her assistance. She told McCarthy, the builder of the castle, to kiss the stone that he found on his way to court, and he did so, with the result that he pleaded a case in court and won. So, thus, the Blarney Stone is said to impart the ability to deceive without offending. I don't even know what any of that has to do with. There's a legend that it was presented to Robert the Bruce in battle one time
hmm.
and then returned to Ireland. But this is like the 13 and 1400s. So that's way after St. Patrick. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. It maybe it's just
So
maybe
it
it's
does
just
say there are
tied
a
to it.
couple like,
I wonder if it's just tied to it because it's an Irish thing.
yeah, I think it's just Irish folklore.
Maybe that's what it
Kind of
is.
like the leprechauns. Like, I have no idea why leprechauns keep coming up in the stories of St. Patrick because I don't understand
Yeah,
how they have anything to do with
maybe it's just tied
it.
together because it's all Irish folklore. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that's
Hmm.
what it is. Because what I just looked at, it said something about St. Patrick's Day, and then it just listed the Blarney Stone. But it was Time Magazine, but it listed a bunch of information about the Blarney Stone. But skimming through it, it did not say anything about St. Patrick, even though
Yeah.
it said
Because if he died in 460 AD and this castle was built in the 1300s,
there's no way.
that's,
Yeah, that doesn't make any
yeah.
sense. There wouldn't be any connection to them at
I
all.
mean, the Blarney Stone is a very interesting story, and it is. So you're right that multiple different people said they have like the original, and then so the University of Glasgow analyzed another section of limestone that someone found, and it was the exact same limestone signature from the castle. So
Hmm.
I don't know, there's some interesting things there too, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it relates.
Anyway, so yeah. That's one of
Yeah.
the well. I looked at how are you done with history? Should I go into my celebrations of St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm done with the
So
history.
I looked at celebrations. That's one of the first.
Hmm.
That's one of the celebrations that I saw was again the engineers. They all
Mm.
celebrate where St. Patrick was an engineer. They all get wasted, trashed all freaking week. They have like little skit shows and all kinds of stuff. That's what they used to do anyway. I'm sure they still do it because that was a big thing that they used to do. So anyway, I looked up a couple different ones that I just pulled that I found were fun. So in
Hmm.
Kansas City, Nick. They do a big parade. They kind of celebrate the whole snake thing, the driving the snakes
Hmm.
out of Ireland. They have a parade on Snake Saturday. I guess Snake Saturday is a
Hmm.
thing. I don't know. Anyway,
Probably
um,
tomorrow.
yeah.
Or
So they
well,
do
not when this episode's being released. I mean,
yesterday,
us talking today. Yeah.
yesterday, tomorrow, yesterday, whatever. Anyway,
Hmm.
time is soup. Anyway, they do a parade through downtown with floats and marching bands and all that kind of stuff, and a cook off, a charity cook off, and a carnival, I guess. So yeah, you've got that you can go to. Um, all kinds of
Interesting.
activities for that kind of stuff. Probably the most, I would say, the most well known one in the United States is Chicago, where they dye the
Hmm.
river green. Um,
Hmm.
that's been going on since 1962, when the local plumbers union said it was a fun idea. Um,
Hmm.
the first or uh, when it I guess the first time or the first few times they did it, it stayed green for nearly a month. Um, Now it only lasts for a couple hours.
Hmm.
So, I guess that's a big difference. By the way, do you think the fish in the river there are like, do you think they realize what's going on, or they're just like, what's going on? Like, why is
I
everything
don't
green?
know.
We can't see
Can
anything
fish
anymore.
see
I don't
colors?
know. Or are they just blinded for a few hours?
I mean, because even if they use like an organic whatever, blah, 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 that doesn't technically affect the water, like it still has to affect the water somehow.
Well,
Okay,
it's
this
going to
says,
make it. It's
yes, most fish species have some level of color vision and actually can see a broader spectrum of color than humans.
well. I mean,
So, yeah.
even if it didn't like affect the like, even if it is an organic chemical or whatever,
Mhm.
if it's like safe for the animals, which I'm sure it probably is, but
Mhm.
it's still going to make it murky. Like they're still not going to be able to see anything in it because it's now green instead of whatever color it
It's like
normally is. I guess
just a
brown.
fish
It's usually
traffic
a
jam
brownish
in
color. So
Chicago.
yeah, I wonder if the
Yeah.
fish are just like. I wonder if they know. Like, are fish? Do fish have a long enough memory to know, like, oh, it's St. Patrick's Day again, or oh, this happens every year. Hey kids, this happens every year. Or are they just like, what the hell's going on? Why can't I see anything? What's green? Why are we green? What's going on? Why can't I see anything anymore?
So I just Googled, do fish know the green color Chicago? That was my Google search. And AI says a recent study of fish behavior in the Chicago River, dyed green annually for St. Patrick's Day, suggests that the fish don't seem to be disturbed or agitated by the green dye. There you go. I don't know.
Hmm. I want to.
It was scientists from the Shed Aquarium tagged over 80 fish to track their behavior during and after the river's dying, and they didn't change anything.
Hmm. Okay. Well, there we go. I guess.
I
I
don't know.
okay. I guess we got our answer. There we go. Fish don't care. Either they're really laid back, or maybe there's some other thing. Maybe there's some other
Maybe
green
there's some
things.
beer in the
Maybe there's
river.
some other green things in that green dye that's making
Yeah,
those fish a little happier than they normally are, a
true.
little less
Hmm.
caring. So anyway,
Yeah.
the largest St. Patrick's Day celebration in the United States is probably no surprise to anyone, is in the largest city in the United States, which is New York.
Hmm.
Festivities date back as far as 1762. So
Yeah, I saw that. That's wild.
longer than the United States has been a country. has
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day been celebrated in New York. Each year, those celebrations draw in around 2 million people, which is a lot.
Crazy.
Um,
I read that now this was not from History or Britannica. I think this was a YouTube video I watched. That New York parade in 1762 was a
mhm.
couple Irish soldiers parading like to the pub,
No, nice.
but I don't know if that's true or not.
That's fun. That makes sense.
And they said
Um,
that was the first St. Patrick's Day parade. I don't
so
know if that's true or not.
obviously Ireland is going to have a bunch of celebrations. It's a big festival. You know, they do a lot of celebrations. A lot of towns do festivals and stuff over there. Um, Japan actually has a lot of
Oh.
celebrations. They have parades that actually are dedicated to the sun goddess.
Hmm.
They fly the Irish flag, um, uh, play bagpipes, and kind of do Irish, stereotypic Irish things. And then it all ends with an oyster festival. And then the Caribbean island of Montserrat. I don't know if that's how you say that or not. Um, is apparently it has a large Irish Catholic population. It is
Oh,
the only place outside of Ireland where St. Patrick's Day is a public holiday. So they celebrate St. Patrick's Day as well.
interesting.
So there you go.
Very cool.
St. Patrick's Day. Yippee.
Yeah.
I mean, other places
That's
celebrate
cool.
it too, but like those are the ones that I found that were interesting ish. Oh, there
Yeah.
was also another one in Hot Springs, Arkansas. That was one that I saw that was kind of funny.
Oh.
They have apparently, according to Ripley's Believe It or Not, they have the shortest publicly used street in the world.
Hmm.
I don't remember. It's like 90 feet long. It's less than 100 feet long, and it's like a commonly used street. And they
Hmm.
have a parade. They have a St. Patrick's parade on it every year. It's considered the shortest St. Patrick's Day parade in the world because it's just, I guess it just goes down
Nice.
this 198-foot street. So there you go, St.
I
Patrick's
love
Day.
it. Cool.
So yeah,
That was good. That was interesting because I had never really I have I'm pretty equal Irish, Scottish, and German. But I've
mm-hmm.
never really paid attention except to the Scottish and German part because that's what people talked about in my family. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's definitely interesting.
yeah.
Maybe next year I'll partake in more St. Patrick's Day festivities. This year I can't go to the parade. I'm going to my mom's softball game
Mm,
and then I'm working. So
that makes sense. Well, yeah. Anyway, I think it's time for facts. So Nick, what is your fact for this week?
I have two about St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
Um, so the first one, drinking didn't become associated with St. Patrick's Day until around the 1970s. Before then, it was a strictly dry religious holiday.
Okay.
And then my second one, because I didn't know what we were going to talk about during the episode, I didn't know if we'd hit on it, but corned beef and hash was inexpensive and it was the American substitute to the Irish dish of bacon and cabbage or ham and cabbage.
Hmm.
So corned beef is not actually Irish. It's more like an American inexpensive substitute that came about in like the 1900s.
Interesting. Um. So the one that I found is that the color green is not actually St. Patrick's color.
Mm.
It's blue.
Oh, why?
So
Does it say why?
it says all the earliest depictions of St. Patrick show him clothed in blue garments, not green. Um, when George III created New Order of Chivalry for the Kingdom of Ireland, the Order of St. Patrick, its official color was sky blue, known as St. Patrick Blue. This is from the Smithsonian.
Oh, I
Before
just
green came
looked it
onto the
up.
scene,
This
blue
makes sense
associated
too.
color with the
Why
Emerald Isle.
green and orange. So I always knew like green and orange, they used one to represent Catholics and one to represent Protestants. So green is typically associated with Irish Catholics and the orange is Irish Protestants. Maybe that also had something to do with it.
Okay, there you go. So, yeah, St. Patrick, we should all actually be wearing... I'm wearing green. I didn't even mean to do that. I just picked a shirt.
I'm not.
I just picked a shirt. I didn't mean to do that. I guess it
don't
just
think
happened.
I have any green.
I
have blue.
But I should have
If
been
that's
wearing...
the real color of St. Patrick,
I should have been
blue.
wearing blue, I guess. Yeah. So, wear blue for St. Patrick's Day. I'm sure people will probably try to pinch you, but, just punch them in the face.
You can tell them that they're wrong.
In the face. Yeah. Tell them that they're wrong. And when they actually pinch you, just smack them or something.
Punch them.
Punch them in the face. Don't do that. We're not. We don't want to be.
We don't advocate violence.
Yeah, we don't advocate
life.
violence in real life. And we don't want to get sued because somebody said that we told them to punch somebody in the face. So, anyway, I think that is about it for this week. Hit the wrong button. Whoops. We are insufficient. Anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment if you guys enjoyed this. If not, then just leave it alone, and maybe you'll like next week's episode. Maybe you won't. Maybe you won't ever listen to us again. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Either way, we'll keep talking.
Yeah. Either way, we'll be here. You may not. We will. Anyway. Yeah. So we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.